You see the warning signs. Your brain tells you to walk away, to block the number, to put the car in drive and leave. But your hands stay gripped to the steering wheel. You don't run. Instead, you sit with that heavy, familiar distance. The lingering confusion settles in your chest, and your body stays locked in a state of quiet tension, entirely unable to relax. To the outside world, say coworkers casually chatting in a break room, these dynamics look like obvious red flags, a clear signal to escape. But to you, the signal doesn't translate to panic. That is because your nervous system doesn't register this specific type of emotional pain as a threat. It registers it as a known quantity. It is a state of being your body already knows exactly how to survive. So staying in a deeply toxic dynamic has nothing to do with a lack of intelligence or observation. Your physiology is simply confusing a highly familiar threat with a baseline of normal life. For some children, growing up in unpredictable environments, love does not begin with a foundation of safety. It begins with careful observation. You learn to read the temperature of a room the second the front door opens. You analyze the slight shifts in an adult's tone of voice, and you quickly learn when to speak, when to stay completely quiet, and when to shrink your physical presence. When moments of genuine connection are constantly laced with underlying tension, a developing brain adapts. Inconsistency stops feeling strange or alarming. It simply becomes the expected weather of the household. To keep the peace, you become relentlessly helpful, hyper-aware. A child will do whatever it takes to avoid the terrifying prospect of losing their primary caregiver's affection. Because staying close to a caregiver is a literal biological necessity, the child's nervous system makes a lasting translation. It weaves survival, tension, and affection into a single thread. It calls that mixture home. As you move into adolescence, this internal blueprint starts shaping your external world. The hot and cold patterns of early childhood transfer seamlessly into teenage friendships and early romances. The teenage brain takes the intense anxiety of being left unread or being treated unpredictably and mislabels it as passion. The hollow feeling of being unsure mutates into the sensation of wanting more. This triggers a relentless behavioral cycle. You find yourself waiting hours for a single text, endlessly overthinking minor interactions, and quickly inventing excuses for how poorly others treat you. Maintaining these imbalanced connections requires immense outward emotional labor. You apologize first, even when you did nothing wrong. You constantly over-explain your intentions, working aggressively to bridge the gap whenever someone pulls away. By the end of your teenage years, a terrible social reflex is locked in. If someone pulls away, you automatically step toward them. You learn to accept that love inherently demands continuous, exhausting, and entirely one-sided emotional effort. Then adulthood arrives. The exact same pattern resurfaces, but now it wears grown-up clothes, heavily disguised as mature, rational relationship behavior. You tell yourself you just need clarity. You rationalize that if you can just have one more completely honest conversation or try one more communication strategy, you can finally fix the emotional distance between you and your partner. But beneath the logic, a different process is running. Your body isn't actually asking for clarity. Your nervous system is compulsively chasing resolution inside an emotional dynamic that feels exactly like your earliest memories. As long as that underlying pattern remains unnamed, your brain will continuously bypass unfamiliar health in favor of familiar pain. So, ask a conditioned nervous system. The known always feels safer than the unknown, even when it hurts. This is why we have to entirely remove the shame of missing the warning signs. You are not foolish or weak for failing to register the danger. You didn't miss the red flags. You walked right into them because they perfectly mirrored the original emotional pattern you were taught to accept as love. The path forward requires replacing heavy self-judgment with deep compassion. You have to look back at the younger version of yourself and honor that they developed these exact survival skills out of absolute necessity. Realizing that an unhealthy dynamic feels incredibly familiar does not mean it is your destiny. It simply means your body learned how to navigate pain, long before it was ever given the chance to experience peace. So, ask a different question. Stop asking yourself why you missed the red flags and start investigating what made those exact red flags feel so comfortable to begin with. If this pattern felt familiar, let us know in the comments and subscribe, because here we unpack the behaviors that had a reason.